Okay, so welcome back to the second part of the class. This is the section that I'm going to be recording with you guys to go through some documents to indicate what's going on. So let me go to the e-class itself. So everybody, I hope, has been able to get into the e-class and they've been able to read some stuff and kind of get some things going. Is this big enough, guys, or should I make it a little larger for you guys? All right. So there are a couple of textbooks you're gonna have to download. This one and this one here. I'd recommend you download them. I did ask for you to download this document, and we're going to be working with that in a little bit. And then, of course, there's a concept map here that you could look at for the visualization of the course. Um, Something here about your self-analysis. These will make more sense as we go through the content. Then we have the course assignments with this is the document that are actually needed you to upload. Course schedule, right? So we have that. Um, did I update this document? All right. So this is the link. You can always find this on the um, here to be able to join the class for our sessions. And this one here, how many has everybody been able to join the WhatsApp chat group for this class? No? Or the vast majority of people have been able to join? Okay, so we'll go through and you'll start to see some of the logic of what's going on here. You might notice a bit of paucity of information here, and when you look at how this class is designed, we will see how that works out. All right. Um, so let's start with the first thing is we're going to look at this document here. So in this document, this is the course outline with the schedule. You'd see my email addresses, my phone contact. We would notice dates for different activities, and we have to kind of fill in people across the board, and we'll get to that. Um, we have 5 dates in which we have 10 presentations to be done by the class. We are going to be affected by some of the vacation time, so I tried to make sure that I took into account the breaks that the college is having, and that has led us into a situation where we're going to be really tight this semester. So we'll have to check and see on whether or not we can actually move some stuff around a little bit to give us a little more time. If not, we'll have to work with the time frame that we have available at this point. All right, so most times what people are very interested in is how is this course going to be evaluated? So the first thing that you're going to be doing as a group, as small groups actually, would be the first exercise is a chapter presentation. So if we look at the schedule above, you'd notice that we have presentations lined up for various dates that have already been pre-selected for different chapters from the textbooks that I showed you initially on the e-classroom that you can get there. All right, and I'll explain what's happening. So basically, I am going to present the first 3 chapters of the main text that we're going to be utilizing, which is the let me show you textbooks that you're going to be using. These are the 2 textbooks that we're going to be using. I'll open these so that you'll have a look at them. So this is the main text here. This is the Kumais, Lucas, and This is the Exploring Leadership textbook. This is the key textbook that you're going to be utilizing for this course. We're going to be tackling a number of the chapters from it. I am going to be dealing with part one of it, Leadership for a Changing World, and I'm going to present these three chapters over the next 3 weeks. Now, from there on, you all are going to take responsibility in small groups to present chapters from this text, including chapter 4, chapter 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then we're going to mix into that some chapters coming from the DAFT textbook to augment what is in that that chapter. So there are a couple chapters from this textbook that you're going to be dealing with as well, and that has to do with um, vision and strategic direction, leadership, power, and influence. And I believe there's one other chapter, chapter 13 and chapter 15 on leading change. Here we go. Yes, chapter 15 on leading change. All right, so it's a combination of these two textbooks that you're going to be utilizing for the entire course, and it will become your responsibility. It'll become your responsibility to teach the section of the course, that chapter of the content, to your fellow classmates in the classroom. So you'd realize that immediately we start off with small group presentations. So based upon the number of people in the class, what I would want to do is to assign at least 2 people to each group, each chapter. And in some instances, we're going to end up with 3 groups. Now, because the class size is usually set up at 30, and registration is still ongoing, we may have the likelihood of, so this is summary class list here. We have 28 people in now, but we still can end up with a situation with new people coming in. So what I'd like to do is the first 2 chapters or first 2 presentation dates, I would like these to have a maximum of 2 presenters, and the others would have 3 presenters each for the other chapters. If the new people come in, then we can slot them into presentation 1 and presentation 2. So based upon the academic calendar, let me grab that and have a look at it too, so that we can work this out. At any point in time, people could ask questions if they so desire. See if I have the academic calendar here. Here it is. All right, so based on the academic calendar, registration for this semester will end on, where is the ad drop period? All right, here we go. The 9th of February. So we still have a little bit of time for people to add to the class, and for obviously people to drop a class to, fix their schedules and so on. So we can't really nail it down until at that point in time, the 9th of February. So we'll see how that works out. But in anticipation that everybody who's currently registered for the class stays here, we will assign 2 persons to the first 2 presentations of chapter 4 and 5, and then for the others we would have 3 persons per chapter for the rest of the 8 left presentations. Now, in doing your presentation, what you're really doing is you're teaching in that chapter to the class, and it's going to be evaluated utilizing this mark scheme here. So you need to cover all the content from the chapter when you're presenting it. I'm going to evaluate the type of examples and explanations that you're utilizing to explain the concepts and ideas. There are examples provided in the text, but I usually try to encourage people to build their own, or to add, not just use the ones in the text, but add their own examples that they can bring from our experience here in Trinidad and the Caribbean. I'm going to be evaluating your clarity of your explanations that you're adding to your discussion. There is a section where you're going to be making recommendations to the class as to what they can do to, achieve some of the things that are recommended in textbooks. And of course, I'm looking for a conclusion to your presentation as well. So that's 60% in terms of content. Style of delivery is also going to be evaluated. So across the board, what I'm looking for is an interactive type style where you are engaging in a conversation with the class about the content and you're not just reading things out to the class. I know it could be a little challenging, especially since a lot of people in our classes here, they don't like to participate. They have a tendency to just stay quiet and stay in the background. So that is going to be something that I'm going to be evaluating. But what you should do as a presenter is to create opportunities to ask questions and get feedback from people. Whether they do it is going to be a little tricky, but we'll see how that works out. In your presentation style, I'm also going to be evaluating the type of presentation aid that you utilize, which tends to be more or less a PowerPoint presentation that you're going to utilize with information drawn from the text to present the information. Now, you're only supposed to present the content from the chapter, but you can supplement it with images and quotations and other information from other sources. And obviously, if you do so, then you need to cite the sources that you've utilized using the recommended style of citation as APA. So I hope you all are familiar with that. And of course, I'm going to be looking at time management. Now, in a 3-hour class, if we have 2 presentations, we're usually going to allow for presentations to be about an hour and a half long. So each student should technically aim for 45 minutes to an hour max in terms of your presentation. This activity counts for 30% of your final grade. And the objective here is to get as much of this 30% as possible. All right. So far, everybody's relatively clear on this first assessment point.
Yes, sir.
An- Anybody has any questions that they want to ask? Let me just bring up the class list here. Feel free to ask questions because we're going to assign people into groups today before we finish. All right, let me try a slightly different technique here. Oh, yes, I see a hand going up. Somebody's hand went up, or was it a thumbs up or something? All right, so I'm gonna open it like this so I can see the list of names here, so I can see if anybody has any questions as we move along. All right, so that's the first assessment piece that we're dealing with, and it's probably the one that's likely to cause you the most immediate amount of panic because it is technically group work and it is a presentation. So double whammy. We'll see how that works out, okay? All right, so the second assessment is a debate, but interestingly enough, the debate is not going to take place until the end of the semester. So after we've finished all the content, there's a date I've already set aside for us to engage in a debate activity, which is April the 14th. This is our last class for the semester because as you know, um, we have a lot of interruptions for this semester. We have a good few holidays. The college is closing for carnival as well for that carnival period. Um, so we are likely to have our debate on the 14th of April. And the way in which the debate is designed, given the size of our class, we will shape our class into 3 teams. We will select as a class 2 of these 3 topics and we'll debate any 2 of them. So we'd have debaters for and against. So if we end up with a class of 30, so it'll be 3 teams of 30 students, 10 students each, sorry. The teams will then subdivide into debate topic 1 and topic 2, or topic 3, depending upon the number we choose. And the topics, the teams who are 4 will subdivide, as I said, into groups of 5, and they will choose one of the topics to assign themselves to argue their position. either for or against. The 10 that is left over will take on the role of mediators, and the activity here will be adjudicated and marked by yourselves. So this is an example, an exercise that is going to bring to bear a lot of the content that we're going to cover in this class, including ethical behavior, leadership, decision making, and presentation skills and group work. So it's a lot of interactive type of activities that's going to go on. The third assessment, any questions on the debate? We will get into a lot more information about the debate because we'll have some time. We have to go through the prep time for it as well. And I will be assisting the teams to be prepared for the debate as well. Any questions about the debate activity? And that one is 15% of the final. No questions so far? Everybody understands everything? Yes, no? Feel free to ask. All right, third assessment point, mid-semester assessment exercise. It's basically a question sheet that you're going to get with a couple of questions that are, it's reflective types of questions about specific aspects of the content that you're going to meet in the semester. I think I have that already set up. Let's see. Yes. So the questions are already set already. You're going to do it in the form of a regular type of assignment. And there's a place on the e-class for you to upload this paper. There are questions about specific aspects of the content. And what I'm really engaging you in is reflecting on the content from the position of your personal experience with the activities that the course is covering in terms of those chapters. So there's basically three questions in which you have to engage in some discussion. We'll get into the details of the questions themselves, but it will really become active if we look at the schedule from the 10th of March. Now, why the 10th of March? That's because by the 10th of March, we would have covered the chapters in which the content that we're proposing the questions from would have been already covered. Already not ready because we still have, yes, moral integrity and moral purpose. Yes, we would have covered all of the content there that the reflection would take place. So because it's reflective in nature, it means that you're going to require some time. So the paper itself becomes active from March the 10th to March the 24th. So by the 24th of March, you should be completed with that paper and you will upload it into the e-classroom in the spot set aside for that. And that'll be here where you'd put in your mid-semester assignment here. You'd have also, prior to this, or well, you would have to upload your group presentation PowerPoint schedule. And how it works is you'll do your PowerPoint presentation to the entire class. And then after the presentations are finished, you'll return to the class privately with me, and I will give you immediate feedback on how you scored. What you did well, where you gained your marks, where you lost your marks, and that type of stuff. And we'll have a discussion about it. So you'll have an immediate idea of how well you've done. All right. So the midterm assessment is similar. You'd have until March 24th to put it in. I tried to mark it before, but it doesn't always work out because the papers tend to be pretty long as well. That leads us with the two other assignments that are left. Wow, what is that? I'll have to take that call at a different time. All right, so sorry about that, guys. You're still hearing me? All right, so let's look at the other two assignments that we have listed here for submission. Oh, by the way, as you do your group presentations, I'll be recording those sessions and they would be uploaded here in this section under student chapter presentation. So as we go through the course, we will be adding content that is created by you guys that is going to be on the e-classroom. All right, so the classroom content is actually going to be your creations throughout the semester that we're going to be dealing with. All right, guys, that makes sense so far? Yes, no, maybe. Some feedback will be
Yes,
useful.
sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Oh, okay. Right. Good.
Yes, sir.
All right. So that then leads us into assessment four, which is something that you can start working on probably as soon as we finish the first two presentations. It is a self analysis, and what you're going to be engaging in, this is for 20 marks. You would be engaging in self reflection of determining how you've become the person you are today. So it's a brief but well organized autobiography. Um, we're not necessarily looking for all that has happened in your life, but rather you're going to choose the most significant things that have shaped who you are as an individual today. All right, and these questions here are set up to be able to help guide you through your discussion to look for those factors that have influenced you in becoming the person you are today. So it requires you to sit and spend some time. So there are some tools that are on the e-classroom to assist you with it. Um, there's a chapter there are a couple of chapters here on understanding self and understanding others that are actually kind of geared towards, kickstarting that type of self-analysis. So once you do those chapters, you could probably begin the process of doing the self-analysis that you need to engage in. And one of the reasons why you're going to be engaging in self-analysis is that you can't actually begin to make any significant change in your life unless you know who you are and where you are in this particular time frame. There is a marking scheme here that is set up where there's an introduction and conclusion, 5 marks apiece, and each of the questions have been assigned um, some marks for the weighting of the question and responses. I am also going to be evaluating your use of language, which is grammar, punctuation, spelling, and so on. That's easy stuff for you to organize, and as well how you've organized your document, whether or not you have you need to use a clear font, double line spacing, create a title page, put in page numbers, and a contents page if you need to. Now, because this is generally about yourself that you're going to be writing, I don't think it will be absolutely necessary for you to do citation unless you've utilized a lot of work from other people to be able to generate analysis of yourself. Um, some people have in the past included images and photographs of themselves and their family members, their homes, and so on, to try and make a document out of it that is pretty all-encompassing of themselves. So, it's an assignment that you could get into and evaluate yourself in a meaningful way, and this is going to be important because the only way you will benefit from this course is if actually you engage in meaningful reflection and assignments in these assignments. All right, any questions on the self-analysis? On the e-classroom, there is a couple tools for you to utilize in terms of personality questionnaires, a personality test online, a learning style inventory. These are designed to assist you with developing a better understanding of who you are and why you behave the way you do. Just to kind of get into grips of what's going on with your life. All right. Any questions so far on that? No, everybody's okay?
No, sir.
All right. And that then brings us to another assignment of which you've already started answering. This is reflections and leadership action plan. This is 15% of your final grade. As you commence this course, reflect on what are your expectations of the course, your lecturer, and yourself. So I kind of asked you this question earlier today when we were doing introductions. I asked you what did you think you're going to get out of the class, and that is in essence a question that you should be asking yourself. Um, should actually All right. So that's something. What I would like you to do is to take that first question, and at some time during the rest of this week before the next class, set up a file somewhere and answer this question, because it is best for you to do it now, where you get a truer representation of um, your expectations of a course before we actually start to go through the material and stuff, and it starts to begin to influence your expectations. All right. So this is something like kind of like homework for next week. Try and answer this question. Put it, save, set up on a file and answer that first question. You could call it your reflections on leadership action plan, and question one, and you put it there, answer it, and leave it alone. Just Miss Williams.
Sorry, sir.
Okay, I thought you had a question. Um, all right. And then when we have finished the content, then you could go about asking the rest of these questions and answering them. As I said, you are free to use relevant pictures, images to assist in your reflections, your personal development. If you're using personal images and photos, then um, citation will not be needed. However, if you're using material not of your own creation, appropriate APA citation will be required. Again, there is a marking scheme here that sort of lays out the types of how the marks are going to be allocated for the assignment. All right. And we should be good to go. Everything is going to be converted into a score out of 100% in any case. All right. So although the total marks look a little off, it's not the end of the world there. All right, and that's basically it. End the document there. Those are the things that you're going to be dealing with in this class. Now I have, I have suggested some deadlines besides the presentation dates. We said the midterms should be finished and dealt with by the 24th of March. Now, I'm not going to say these are carved in stone. If there are problems, if there are issues, you could always let me know, and I could be a little more flexible with the dates. The debate exercise is kind of nailed down. We kind of have to deal with it. Now, if you would recall, classes end that week of the following week of April. If we go to the course, the academic calendar, classes for this semester end on April 27th. But you'll notice something pretty interesting um, that I have done. I have set the submission deadlines for the self analysis and the leadership and action plan May the 18th. So I'm giving you extra time outside of the class time to submit your responses. Now, we have to be very careful with this. Now, I'm not saying that you can't do it earlier. Feel free if you feel you've been able to, respond to the questions meaningfully. With the exception of the leadership action plan, you really shouldn't be finishing this up until after classes end on April 14th. Um, I have a grade input deadline of May the 25th. So I need you to get this stuff into me for the latest May the 18th, so that I will have enough time to read your work, evaluate it, and load the marks onto Banner. All right. So I'm giving you all some extra time outside of the actual teaching time, where you could devote some time and do a serious piece of analysis, because that's what I want. I want you all to treat with this work seriously, engage in the reflections in a meaningful way, so that it will mean a lot to you after the fact. So it's something that you can utilize to help understand yourself, and look at what you need to do to maybe change things you don't like about yourself, or to improve the things that you do like, or that we've seen as being positive. So that's the nature of the class. That's how we're going to be looking at it. Any questions thus far? Anybody? No, everybody's clear on this? Wow, no questions. Everybody's staying quiet. You all need to get engaged with this, huh? All right, so let's get some engagement now. So we said first and foremost, let me bring up the class list, and we will be grabbing names from. Well, let me do a. I just need the names for now. Let me copy this. Take it to a blank page and right. Okay, so we have some people who aren't here today, but we will see how that works out. So what I want to do is I want to ask people to volunteer for presentation. So who feels that they are now remember we have a limitation. We can only use two people for presentations, one and two. And then the rest of the presentations, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, will be three people at least. All right. Okay, so the people who aren't here today are, um, get rid of this. So we have Aliyah Rampasad, who's absent, Aleem Mohammed. Anybody familiar with these names? And Annalisa Singh. So 1, 2, 3. And then we have Olivia Phillips Williams. They are not here today. Out of the 26 people, 28 people, 24, 6. Let's see who's still here. We have, yeah, everybody else is still here. All right. So, those of you who are here get first pick. So, let's look at the chapter titles so you'll kind of get an idea of what you're going to be engaging in presentation wise. Hold a second, guys. All right, guys. Sorry about that. Let's. All right. So I'm hoping people were thinking a little bit about the chapters that they might like to engage in presenting. So we have chapter 4. Well, chapter 1 to 3. I'm going to deal with, and you'll get a fair idea from what I do in terms of what will be required. I know some people are going to be a little hesitant to be the early ones, but um, those chapters are actually a little more straightforward. All right, so you have chapter 4, understanding self. It's a chapter about, um, about doing that. Chapter 5 is understanding others. Chapter 6 is a critical chapter. It's integrity and moral purpose. Um, then chapter 4 is, sorry, no, I should say chapter 6. Then chapter 7, presentation 4, is all about teams and groups. Then we have, because of how critical integrity and moral purpose is, we actually look at the DAFT's interpretation of integrity and moral values. So this is the first DAFT chapter that we're going to be utilizing from the second book, um, Courage and Moral Leadership. Then we're back to the main text, chapter 9, Being in Communities, chapter 8, Complex Organization. So this is where we stop from the main text. And then we shift over to the DAF for the last couple of presentations, Vision and Strategic Direction, chapter 13 from the DAF, chapter 12, Power and Influence, and then the last chapter, leading change. Now, the order of these presentations are important. So, groups are, well, the presentations need to go off in this order because content from one chapter impacts upon the content of another chapter. So if we have to go in this order, we have to hold to this order as much as possible. All right. So it becomes a little more important um, as we move along. As we start to look at the content and we start to understand a little bit more about it, you realize how significant that's going to be. All right. So that aside, what I'm looking for now are people who will be willing to volunteer to present the first chapter that we have to deal with. All right, so Outer, open your mic. Which chapter you were looking for? Sydney.
I don't mind doing understanding self.
Sydney, I could barely hear you. You had to fix that mic. Try that again, Sydney.
I don't mind doing understanding self.
Understanding self. All right, so that's Sydney. Copy. Come up here and we just. All right, so Jamel Greaves.
So chapter 2, well, not chapter 2, sorry, Understanding Others, chapter 5. Present.
Presentation two.
Yeah.
Presentation two. All right. Yeah. I understand. I get the problem too. All right. Put your hand down, Miss Williams.
The presentation one, understanding self.
Understanding self. All right. So that means that you and Sydney are the size of the group right now for this. So that means nobody else can get chapter 4 anymore. All right. Okay. So Miss Gatsby.
Yeah, I would like to understand others as well.
Understanding others, right? So again, Jamel and yourself are, as I said before, there are only going to be two of you all presenting this chapter. Okay. All right. So you all would need to hook up with each other and start setting up, um, going through the chapter and working out how you all going to design your stuff. All right, Miss Dan Raj,
So I'll take chapter 6.
you'll take it. What are you going to do with that? Chapter 6, integrity and moral purpose, right? Actually there are two chapter 6s. I just remember that. But the
So
first
I'll
chapter,
do integrity, purpose.
moral purpose. All right. So this group actually can be three. All right. So all the other groups now can have three people in it. All right, Miss Danraj, thanks a lot. Simon.
So I will do presentation for teams and groups.
All right. So you're one of three people there. Okay. Teams and groups. All right. Ole.
Yes, presentation for as well.
All right. With Simon.
Teams and groups.
All right. Let me do it this way. All right. Teams and groups. All right. Ole, Maya, thank you. Anastasia.
So I'll do teams and groups as well.
All right. So that means teams and groups is also completed. We have three people for that, and that's the maximum number. All right. Kingston.
So I had to see the other ones because I also wanted to do teams and groups, but failure.
All right. Well, those are out. So let me scroll
Yeah.
downwards so that you can start to see what the others look like.
I said presentation 6.
Being in communities.
Yes, sir.
All right. Cool. All right, Anastasia. No, Anastasia. You can put your hand down. You've already assigned. Miss Cox. Jamila.
Yeah, I believe it was. You can go back up. Presentation 3.
Sorry. Presentation 3.
Mm-hmm.
All right, with Danraj. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Ramdan.
So I'll take Being in communities, presentation 6.
All right, that's with Miss Kingston. All right. Destiny.
So I'll take presentation 6.
Presentation. All right, so that closes off being in communities then, right? Okay. All right, Destiny. Christian McSween.
Presentation 5.
All right.
Said we, yeah.
Okay. Dan Raj. Selena.
Oh, sorry, sir.
Oh, you look. All right, Christian, you need to put your hand down unless you want to make a change. McSween. All right. Stacy George.
Power and influence.
Power and Influence, chapter 12. Great. Okay. Lindsay.
Yes, sir.
Len?
I would like to do power and influence as well.
All right. So that's with Stacy. Okay. All right. Stacy and Len, put your hands on. Shaniqua, Miss Rogers, sorry.
Sir, I'll do power and influence as well, please.
All right. So that closes off this group. Okay. Sydney Samsuda.
Vision and strategic direction.
All right. Okay, cool. Stacy, you need to put your hand down. Sydney, same thing. Augustine.
So I want to do the complex organizations.
Complex. All right. Well, you will have some partners coming in with you. All right. Jadu. Remember, we still have one more chapter down here, leading change. Okay.
I'll
Stefan?
do vision and strategic direction.
Vision and strategic direction. Okay. Cool. All right. Stefan. Trisha.
Sir, can you scroll up, please?
We still have a one spot in chapter 6, integrity and moral purpose.
Yeah, I'm fine with doing that. Taking that
Think
spot.
so?
Yeah.
All right. So that's Trisha Ram Kalawan, right?
Thank you.
All right. So you're joining Dan Raj and okay. So that's closed off there. All right. All right. Stacy's not listening to me, and I'll tell you put your hand on. You ain't saying that. I never see more people. All right, let's just drop this off here. All right, Samaru Alexandra.
I will do presentation 7.
Complex organizations with Augustine.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Sukram Abigail.
Presentation 7.
All right, so that closes off this group. Okay. Mr. Hart.
Presentation 8.
8. All right. Okay, Llewellyn.
Presentation 5.
Right, with McSween. All right. Has anybody not selected a chapter yet? For those of you who have already been assigned, put your hands on, please. I think everybody here. Let me see. There are 24 of you here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. All right, so all of you who are here have assigned yourselves to groups. So there are a couple of people who aren't, so unfortunately I'm going to have to pop them into some groups. Who's that? Let's see. Mohammed. Alright, so I'm going to put Mohammed with McSween and Llewellyn. That is Aleem Mohammed. Actually, I want to ask somebody to do me a favor. Somebody who is here, can you switch to chapter 10 to take the presentation 10 to take the lead in it? Just in case these people turn up to be, they don't come to class, so to speak. Is anybody willing to be that brave to switch out from the chapter that you've selected already to chapter 10? This will be with the exception of presentation 1 and 2, because one of
So
these
I
those
will do
people.
it.
Who's I?
Shaniqua. Rogers.
Rogers.
Yeah.
All right, so you had 9, so you'll just step. All right, I really appreciate that. So that just in the event, we end up in a situation where the people don't turn up later on, we'll see how it goes. All right. Anybody else want to just jump across with her from those groups that have 3 people? So at least there'll be 2 of you all who know each other already assigned to it. Come on, somebody could do it. Be brave. Don't be a wimp. Come on. Or you want me to move you? Leading Change is a really nice chapter. It kind of wraps the whole.
Don't mind.
Who's that?
Trisha.
Who?
Trisha Ramkalawan.
Ram Kalawan. Yes. You sound like the kind of person that's up for challenge. Where are you now? Up in 3.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. See So what I'm doing here is, in the event that these people never turn up in class, all of our chapters are at least covered by 2 people. All right. I'm going to assign the other people who are absent today into those groups that have the gaps. As I said, if we have extra people turn up, then we know presentation 1 and 2. Hopefully they don't wait until the last minute to come in, but we'll see how that works out. All right, so we've already assigned Aleem, Phillips, Williams. I will put right here with Miss Cox and Danraj. Next person is Aliyah Rampasad. I will place her with Stacy and George. What happened? And the last person is Annalisa Singh. She goes to the last presentation here. Why is this happening? Oh, I think I know why. Copy. All right, so we have all groups sort of sorted out at the moment. Um,
So question.
yes.
But yeah, but they had raised my hand before, but could I have gotten into presentation 3 by chance for the person who not here?
Presentation 3. Um, Christian McSween. No, because if I put the person, if I switch you with the person who's not here, presentation 5 ends up with 2 people who weren't here today. You follow? It'll just be Llewellyn alone because I'd have to swap you with Philip Williams who wasn't here today, Olivia. It kind of defeats the purpose of what I wanted to do. If you get either Dan Raj or Miss Cox to do a trade, that'll be fine. You could talk to them and find out. All
Yeah,
right.
it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. I understand the dates, what you probably had to pay attention to now. All right, so what I'll do is, and I'll do it now, is I'll update this on the e-classroom so that you can download it. You can download the schedule. I think it's course outline with course schedule here, and I have it here. Course schedule outlines date. So let me update this. That way. And when we finally lock it off, I will all right. So you'd also be able to get a copy of this as well. One of the things I can also do too. Somebody's mic is making noise. Stefan, yeah, it's yours, Stefan, and Sydney. Right, both of your mics are open. Stefan, your microphone's making a loud hum. I will also put this into the group chat for. This is 11th to Monday. Let me include document. Oh, cancel. Something weird came up there. All right, so you could pull it down from here as well. I have to drop off this person here. Nope. Okay. All right, so we have 26 people here so far. A couple of people haven't joined yet. We all everybody was able to grab grab this from off the class, right? So you can download this now. With this, we'll be updating this document again, based upon what happens in the next couple of classes, in terms of whether new people come in or people drop out. So it's not, as I said, and I'm going to PDF this document until we get to that point. But people ought to be paying attention to their groupings, reaching out to speak to these people that you've been grouped with in these relatively small groups to begin the process of preparing a chapter. One of the other things too, of course, would be to download the textbooks and go and read the chapters. The problem is that you're going to be reading the chapter in isolation of the other texts or the other chapters, so it might not get the correct context. So be mindful of that, and if you have any questions in terms of what exactly you need to be doing, those are things we could tackle along the way. All right. Anybody has any questions that they want to ask at this point in time? Anything that you think you might need clarification on? No? Wow. Very compliant. Yes, all right. Very compliant class. All right, so next week I will be presenting chapter 1 and it's actually the preface and chapter 1. I'll be dealing with the first presentation, so you kind of get an idea of what's going on. So today you realize we're not dealing with any content. We're just dealing with planning for the rest of the semester. I would tell you, take some time and go through the document, read as much as you can from it. Make sure you understand. If next week we meet and you have questions, feel free to ask them there, or you can post your questions into the WhatsApp chat, or you can email me, or you could WhatsApp me privately about concerns that you might have. So that way we can, I can allay any sort of concerns you have or issues that may be coming up. All right. So guys, I want to thank you for joining my class. I hope we will have a really good session, good time with each other during this semester, and I hope we learn a lot together. All right. So I'm looking forward to having some really good sessions with you all. All right. So with that being said, I will pause the recording for today, and as soon as the recording is processed, I will upload it to the classroom for anybody who misses it or anybody who wants to review anything.